Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, a hearty good morning on this Testosterone Tuesday with, of course, Timmy Ham, IndyCar Tim joining me here. We got lots to get to. Boy, bad night for the home teams last night. Man, the Bolts were absolutely flat. The Rays choked away a late slim lead. Kevin Cash may be to blame for this one. We'll talk a little bit about that. We got plenty of Bucks talk here with Scott Reynolds going to join us at 10:30 from the Pewter Report. We'll be hitting the draft hard today, wherever the Bucks go next week. And we have the interesting story of the Rachaad White imposter at the game last night. Tim says he has evidence that OJ didn't do it. There's a new development called Ybor Harbor that's not going to have a baseball stadium, and that's so sad for me. John Sterling just quits. I don't know what the hell happened there with the Yankees. He's done. And other kinds of great stuff coming up. And we'll have a little conversation on travel ball for youth sports. So much to get into this morning. So glad you guys are with us, however you are joining us by YouTube, by podcast, whatever. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you like and subscribe so we can grow this program even more. And a huge thank to all our sponsors. Good morning to you, Timmy Ham. I'm excited about this show. We got crazy stuff. Oh, I even forgot about this. We now have definite proof of chemtrails. Chemtrails are true. Again, another conspiracy theory that is absolutely 100% true because it was on ABC News last night.
Did you hear the latest about the sun?
No. What's going on with the sun?
Our sun is gone. We now have a sun simulator in the sky, JP. That was the entire premise of the eclipse, was that it covered the sun, which is weird because it didn't cover it around the world, right?
So we could trade it out.
Yeah, so now they replaced the sun with a sun simulator, and there is overwhelming evidence that this is true.
Exactly. Well, listen, I just watched the entire The Matrix. I just watched that for the first time a couple days ago.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I've always watched bits and pieces. I've never sat down and watched the whole thing. Right. So I watched the whole thing. And I'm like, it's everything's a simulation. Nothing is real. It's all a glitch, baby. It's all everything. We're just living in a simulation. Somebody's simulation. So somebody simulate me about $2 million today, please. Yeah. Someone.
It's not real.
Let's just go off the rails today, bro. With all this stuff, it's just like let's just have some fun with all of it. You know, people are like, I don't want to hear about the Bolts. Let's get right to that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm like, Now I'm interested. Like the sun. How do we get rid of the sun? What the hell happened there?
I don't know. I went down the TikTok wormhole last night, trying to fall asleep in about half of the posts because I follow all these conspiracy people, right? Because it's entertaining. Of course.
Exactly.
And dude, all of them were not. It's the new. Or we have video evidence that it's not the real sun that we had. The lighting is different. I'm sun burning harder and faster. Have you noticed how windy it's been around the entire world since the eclipse? And it's because they've messed with now our entire atmosphere and environment, taking the sun away, and it's just a simulator now.
It's so good. It's so good. All right.
Love it.
All right, well, let's get into we'll start with the real world. How boring, right? We'll start with the real world. And last night I'm at the Lightning game, and I'm like, okay, this will be the game that they start picking it up before, they're going to get back to to doing it right. This is the get back game. The Sabres coming into town. They got nothing to play for. Let's go out and do what we're supposed to do. And no, it was a complete opposite. They came out flat. Buffalo gets the first score, and they even it up eventually. But just at no point did you feel like that they were going to take over the game. It's just another flat performance. Now, like our good friend Eric Erlinson said, on Lightning Insider, this has nothing to do with how the team is going to play in the playoffs. And I totally agree with that. No question about it. But it's once again, as Stamkos said last night, sloppy. You get into bad habits by taking your foot off the gas pedal. Now, the good news is this team is so ridiculously experienced in the Stanley Cup playoffs. There's no reason to believe this is how they're going to play in the playoffs. That said, we always, people will always say, well, you can't just flip the light switch on and off. Well, yeah, you can, because the Lightning have proven that time and time and time again. Oh, we need to go on a run to secure our playoff spot? Gotcha. 11-2-1. 11-2-1 against the pretty difficult schedule. Switch on. Oh, we got our playoff spot secured. We can't move up or down. Switch off. Lost 4 of 5, 3 in a row. It is what it is, man. And I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just refuse to worry about it. I'm not going to get on. Now, I am worried about Luke Glendening. Luke Glendening goes down last night, gets hit hard into the boards, and he goes in like this, okay, which Brian Engblom was trying to explain to me last night. This is not good because this does not move that way. And, when he comes off like this and goes down the tunnel, you could tell by Cooper's demeanor after the game, even though he said no update, you could kind of tell that it was a little bit more serious than, it'll be a week or so. But just purely speculating here, and nobody knows until the swelling goes down how serious it's going to be. But Luke Glendening is one of your best penalty killer. Him and Tyler Mott, who's also out after taking a puck off the ankle. He might be able to play on Wednesday. Probably will be able to go game 1 coming up this weekend for the playoffs or early next week, depending on when they schedule the games. So, but you're worried. I mean, it's your penalty killing unit. You can't go into the playoffs with your top 2 PK guys out. That's no good. And Glendening is your best face-off guy as well. That's one of the main reasons they got him in here, for those huge face-offs, especially on the penalty kill, where you got to win those face-offs and get the clear. And if he doesn't play, somebody's got to pick up that slack. And as we saw last year in the playoffs, that was a big problem for the Lightning. So I think that's why Cooper's demeanor was so bad last night after the game. He spoke for 1 minute and 11 seconds to the assembled media. That was it. And when he does that, something's eating and he was pissed. And he was pissed the way the team played. And he knows better than anybody that they got the switch, and that's what they just did. And will they switch it back on for the playoffs? Of course they will. They'll be on the road for the first 2 games. And I think the Lightning like that to kind of figure out the series where, if you lose one of the first 2 games on the road, you're not panicking, right? Sometimes when you're at home and you lose one of those, we've lost home ice advantage. We work so hard, blah, 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 blah. And then when you go out, especially if you're a wild card, the 7th seed, and this is a formula the Lightning has used here very well, you steal one of those games. Now, you have all the momentum. You win 1 out of 2, and it's a great thing. You win 1 out of 2 at home, and it's the sky is falling. It's just kind of the way the playoffs work. So they like starting on the road, and they will, and they'll start against Boston or perhaps the Florida Panthers, which no Lightning fan wants to play the Panthers. I get that. The way they've matched up 5-on-5 with the Panthers has not been good. The Panthers' forecheck is ferocious. It's something that the Lightning have shown that they can't handle very well. So I think that's why everybody's a little bit hesitant. Now, you got to be, if you're the Panthers or the Bruins, they don't want to play the Tampa Bay Lightning. Neither one of those teams wants to play the Tampa Bay Lightning in the playoffs. They know what the recent history is, and they also know, even though they've lost 4 of 5 and 3 in a row, they know that's not the real Lightning. The 11-2-1 is the real Lightning, and that's the team they're going to face in the playoffs, which is a red-hot Andrei Vasilevsky. Now, is there, can they creep into your mind? Well, he hasn't been that great in the last. I know. But again, until we see the Lightning not do that and not flip the switch back on, and you can say, well, they didn't flip the switch last year against Toronto. I still say to this moment, they were the better team in that series. They lost 3 games at home in overtime, and that's unheard of. And, some of that is puck luck, and, they were 2 very evenly matched teams. So I'm not going to sit here and say the Lightning, laid laid one on the ice last year. They did not. They played well against Toronto. They played well enough to win. They just didn't get the bounces at the right time. I'm sticking. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. So I'm not. Am I concerned? I'm concerned about the Glendening injury. Yes, I'm very concerned about that. Am I concerned about the team as a whole? No, I'm not. Now, would I like to see them play better on Wednesday night against Toronto? Yes, and I think they will. They got something to play for. Here's Kucherov sitting at 99 assists. Only four other players, including McDavid, who got it last night, will have had 100 assists in a season. So that's something that they're talking about. Well, they're not talking about it, but everybody knows about it, and everybody wants to get that done. Stamkos got his 40th goal last night. That was great. That's 7 40-goal seasons. Only 11 other players have done that, or 10 other players have done that in the history of the game. That's something. That's something. And he's only one of two active players. Ovi's the other to have done that. So these are important marks. They're historical marks. And I would wish Kuch had gotten that 100th last night so they don't have to go into the last game. Toronto, who will be here on Wednesday, plays tonight in Florida. Tonight in Florida. Now, if the Panthers win, they have the tiebreaker over Boston. So if Boston wins, we will play Boston, and they host Ottawa tonight. So I have a good feeling that Boston should win that game. And if they do win it outright with the 2 points, they're the number one seed. We play them starting next week in Boston. If the Panthers win, and they're 1 point difference right now, so any combination, if there's a tie at the top, the Panthers, by virtue of having more overall wins, will win the division, and then we play the Panthers. So basically, Boston needs to win to secure the division title, and then that's who we'll play. Now, do they want to play the Lightning? They're not playing that game. Neither one of these teams is playing that game. They're just going to go out and do what they do and let the chips fall where they may. And personally, would I rather see them play Boston? Yes, absolutely. But if you're going to win the cup, you got to beat the best. So at some point, you're going to have to beat Florida or the team to beat Florida. So bring it on. Matchups are important. I get it. I'd rather not play Florida. So let's start with Boston. Boston's our bitch. We'll take care of that business and then move on. So I'm not freaking out about the Lightning.
No reason
That's my
to.
spiel.
Yeah, there's no reason to. It's not time to start freaking out yet. Things have not gone, as you said, the way you would like to see them go. They haven't gone swimmingly, but heading into the playoffs, you're in the right position. You're not playing your best hockey, but you're not playing your worst hockey. And this has happened before with this team. I know. So and like you said, the odd thing about this team is they can turn it on when they need to.
Yeah,
that's what's crazy about this thing is they've done it before. So it's going to happen. Just settle down, enjoy the fact you're there, and enjoy some playoff hockey because that's what it's all about.
Can't wait. Cannot wait for playoff hockey. It's going to be so fun. Either one of these teams coming in here, either Boston or Florida, for games 3 and 4.
Right.
I mean, Amalie Arena is going to be up for grabs. So get your tickets now. Tickets on sale. Whoever, I would be shocked. I'll be shocked if they don't come back here for game 3 tied at 1. I'll be shocked. That this is what they do. This is how the Lightning work. This is how Vasi works in the playoffs.
Right.
They're going to win one of those first 2 games on the road and come back here in 3 and 4. And they need to reclaim their home ice advantage in the playoffs at Amalie Arena after what happened with Toronto last year. So I'm excited about the playoffs. I'm excited about this team. The Glendening thing gives me a little bit of knot in my stomach, to be honest. But hopefully this team can overcome that. Everybody's going to have injuries in the playoffs, so every team has to overcome something. And right now, that's the one I'm worried about for the Lightning. All right, how are your Dallas Stars doing, by the way? They all good?
Baby, we won the division for the first time since 2016.
Is that a good thing?
I'll take it.
Is that a good thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
How are they poised going into? I haven't paid hardly any attention to what's going on in the West, to be quite honest, until I have to.
So, man, the West is kind of crowded, right? And I don't know what your thoughts are on the best conference. If it's the East or the West. I still think the East has probably two of the better teams. Obviously, Florida's one of those. But I think the Stars are going to have trouble, to be honest with you, going through the West. They're going to wrap up the conference. Just a game to play. They're at 111 points. They lead Vancouver by 4 points. Vancouver's got 2 games to play. So Dallas loses. Vancouver wins both of their games in regulation. You're tied for the points total. You're not going to get the President's Trophy. That's going to New York, obviously. Man, I think the Rangers snuck up on me, by the way, over in the East. I didn't know they were this good.
Yeah, they've been good all year. Shesterkin's been great. They've been good all year. Panarin's sitting at 120 points.
Yeah.
By the way, Kucherov has 142. McKinnon 138. Connor McDavid 132. Ooh. So McKinnon has 1 game left, and that's Thursday. So he'll know after Wednesday, after Nikita Kucherov finishes off his season. I'm gonna give him 2 points for Wednesday night's game.
Okay.
So he only got 1 and 0 the game before, so he's due for a 2 or 3 pointer. So I'll give him the 144. So McKinnon has to get 6 points on the last game.
Right.
And I'm not even sure. And that game's really not going to matter much for Colorado. Is it in the standings? Are they locked in?
They're only a point behind Winnipeg.
Winnipeg, yeah, okay.
So for the 3 seed, Colorado's your 4 seed, and Winnipeg's the 3 seed.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a chance there. They're just 2 points behind Vancouver for the 2nd seed. They can't catch Dallas in the 1. But Dallas is looking at a first-round matchup against the Vegas Golden Knights, and the Vegas Golden Knights have kind of been their kryptonite, man.
Yeah, you don't want no part. You want no part of that, right?
No. But it's a different year, so I don't know. We'll see. Our offense is clicking right now.
All right.
So yeah.
Well, it's coming time for some of the best 2 months in sports for me, and that's hockey playoffs, especially when the Lightning go deep. It's fun, so we'll see how it goes down.
How great would it be to have a Lightning Stars Cup run? We'd have some fun on the show, man. We'd have some.
Be great for this show. That's for damn sure.
Right?
Yeah,
I'd love it. I'd hate it because Stars would probably lose, but that's okay.
All right, we got some of our great commenters chiming in already today. Buffalo just fired their whole staff, beat the Lightning, and they fired their whole staff. That's interesting. Hockey's crazy like that, isn't it? There's no patience in hockey whatsoever. Bucks Rays Bolt says, wait to see who Tampa plays Boston, the Panthers. Who you think they get? I think it's going to be Boston. I think Boston beats Ottawa tonight. They want to play well going into the playoffs. I think they're confident they can beat Tampa Bay, but whatever. Good morning to you, Nathan Elliott, as well. What else we got here? This got to get this in. Jets, nice hat. Yeah. I don't have the camera on backwards, folks. This is actually the reversed brand.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
So we have those in Dallas too, where it says Dallas upside down and arched.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Why is it upside down? I don't get it.
Because it's cool. It's reversed and upside down. It's cool. But that's what it is. Yeah, I have a handwritten note. I have a handwritten note here from Scott Lee, who is the owner of Reversed Brands.
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, we got a great investor base. Vinny LeCavalier, Derek Brooks, Booger McFarland, Jason Light, the owner of Barstool Sports Merchandise. Is that Portnoy or is that somebody else? And Dan Morgan.
Bought it back, right?
Among others. Yeah. Did he? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. So, they've got other athletes repping it. Mario Chalmers, Eric Witt, Nelson Aguilar. They're having lots of fun with this. So it's interesting. We're going to be one of their partners.
Were these guys just like sitting around in a bar one time and said, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we just put the city names just upside down on a hat?" And people will buy them.
I think it also has to do with copyright. I'll ask Scott about this, but I think if it's upside down and backwards, you don't have to worry about copyright.
Really?
Yeah. So, but they're working with teams. They're working with country clubs. They're working with a whole bunch of different types. So you'll see a lot more of it, and they're going to brand out, go out into other things, I'm sure. So
sure. It's just I've seen those around town, and I've never seen another city. I've seen all the ones here in Dallas, and it's just Dallas upside down. And I'm like,
well, do you wear hats? You want
hats every day.
Okay, well then I'll get you a couple. Then absolutely,
That would be
We're getting
great.
Nick a couple, so I'll
right.
ask him for, and we'll maybe be doing some giveaways and stuff. So we're
fun.
working with them. We're gonna have how we can partner with them. So
no, it's awesome
we'll
to me. I just never would have thought about it. Right, like that's a genius thing. I just never would have thought about it.
So Bucks Rays Bolt says, I think Boston will try and throw the game and force the play. Leafs think get Panthers. What the hell does that even mean, bro? Come on, take your time. Take your time.
By the way,
like spell it out.
I think Bucks Rays Bolts is drunk this morning because all of his messages look like that.
Yeah, Leafs better matchup for Boston. Okay, all right, that's a little bit better. All right. Well, we love people that are drinking early. I got my Hydrate Heroes, and there's no vodka in it, as far as you know.
No Red Bull this morning for me, JP.
What are you drinking? Just coffee?
Coffee. I drank 6 Red Bulls yesterday. I'm out, so I got to go back and replenish.
Lugo is going to have a field day with you today. Because we're talking hydration and drinks, so he's going to break down Hydrate Heroes today. So we'll be talking about hydration. All right, to the Rays last night. I was kind of trying to keep an eye on the game as I was watching the Bolts disappointing. I got to tell the Rachaad White story before we get off the Bolts.
Oh yeah.
So last night, Rachaad White of the Bucks did the Tesla coils. He was our guest, we fire up the Tesla coils, we got the Frankenstein thing, Tesla coils go, everybody goes bananas. So later on in the evening, one of my usher friends, the great Maurice, stepped up, and I'll get to you in a second there. So he texted me, he says, hey, Rachaad White and his group want to come to a studio tour. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So I go down to get him, and he's like, hey, can you sign there? So we get the whole group, and Rachaad's with them, or so I thought, because there's a guy with the same hairstyle as Rachaad White, same exact, the poofy dreads that come out the top, right? And he's got sunglasses on. And I when Greg was handling the Tesla thing, I looked up and I said, oh, there's Rachaad. He's wearing sunglasses, and he's got a Lightning jersey on. Okay. So this guy, who's the same size as Rachaad, has glasses on and a Lightning jersey, has the same hairdo and a goatee. Like, he looks a lot like him. Okay. And I'm not really paying that much attention because the rest of his group is talking to me. And I'm like, hey, this is where we're going, giving them the whole thing. And I didn't want to get all up in Rashaad's face or whatever. So they come with me. We put the camera on him, like, hey, Rachaad White's here. He's in the studio now, blah, blah, blah. And so we, did that whole thing. And I'm like, hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Get you on the show soon. He's like, yeah, cool. And I talked to him a couple times, and I've not, I've done interviews with him, but only in a press conference setting at a distance. And so I was like, that's got to be Rachaad White. Like, I was questioning it a little bit, but I'm like, what would there be another guy in the arena with a Lightning jersey, number 1, white on the back, a number 1, like the whole thing was like, I'm okay, whatever. And I'm not paying that close attention. So I post a couple pictures, and then I'm looking, and Greg Wolf posted a picture with Rachaad White, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's a different jersey than the guy that was with me in the studio.
Oh no.
And I'm like, wait a minute. So I go back and I'm looking at the pictures, and I'm like, dadgummit, that guy was an imposter. He told Maurice he was Rachaad White. And I wasn't like staring at the dude. So I was like, he's got the goatee, he's got everything. He looks just like him, and he's acting like him, and he's answering to Rachaad. And I'm like, so I guess the dude played us and played everybody. And,
wow.
Brought us so I'm like, how is that? Did he really do that? I guess he did.
Wow.
So, cheers to you, mate. Cheers to you, mate.
Awesome.
But I deleted the pictures. I could probably put it back up so you guys could see, obviously he's wearing different glasses and he's wearing different jersey. But when I looked at him doing the Tesla call, it's not like I studied the guy's wardrobe. The hair is distinctive enough, right?
Right.
The hair is distinctive enough for Rachaad, and he's got the goatee. And this guy was wearing big glasses, so I really couldn't see his face. So, and I was talking to all the other people, so I wasn't dialed into him, this guy. So anyway, funny story. Good for him. And by the way, we'll hear from Rachaad White a little bit later. He spoke with the media. So you got us. Whoever you are, you got us. Good for you. Hope you enjoyed the studio tour.
And it's not like he just used reveal at the end, like, gotcha. He just played along with it and he left and went about his business. So that's kind of the ultimate prank, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like big deal, no big deal, but it's kind of funny. Good for you.
That is funny.
All right. On to the Rays, where Phil Matone last night was impersonating a relief pitcher. So the Rays get an unbelievable effort from Zach Eflin. I think he gave up 3 hits, retired 11 in a row at one point. He was unhittable. Pitchers duel. Of course, the Rays were unhittable as well. Through 2 outs through the 4th, they had no hits off of Patrick Sandoval, who was pretty good last night, at least good against the Rays. Eflin was great. He was mixing his pitches, his locations, had a big strike zone to work with. Really, really good. So they load the bases in the 5th, nobody out, top of the order. And Yandy hits a chopper. They get a run. And then I think another chopper from Ramirez, and then a Rosarena hits it kind of a sharp grounder to the 3rd. But all they get is 1 run out of bases loaded, nobody out, top of the order. So that's going to come back to bite you in the ass, right? So they go to the 8th inning, or the 7th inning, and Jason Adam comes on. And they get a great double play from Meade to Caballero to Diaz and get out of the inning. So I think Jason Adam, has been really good, only faced 1 or 2 batters. I didn't check the box score, but he could have definitely come back for the 8th. But Cash goes to Matone, or Maton, as it were, and he gives up a base hit or a walk, I think it was. A guy steals second. So you got first base open with Mike Trout up, and it's a 1-0 game. Hello, Tim. What do you do if you're Kevin Cash? Mike Trout, by the way, 6 for 12. I'm wearing the numbers here. I think I wrote it down. Hitting 320, 10 home runs, 19 RBIs in the Trop.
I don't know. You pitched right to him, right?
Last week, he went 6 for 12 off of you with a couple of home runs in that series. So you got first base open in a 1-0 game. Tim, what do you do? Mike Trout at the plate.
JP, I would intentionally walk him and just
I would
get him on base.
I think we intentionally walk in there, right? Set up a double play, right? Like get first base. Did I mention first base was open?
Yeah.
I did mention that.
What? Even if it wasn't, I would probably intentionally walk him.
Joe Madden would have.
Yeah.
I mean, and then we throw a hanging slider in the middle of the plate and it goes 420 feet and you're down 2-1.
Oh, dear.
I mean, come on, Kevin. Like we could, first of all, we could have left Jason Adam in, sent him out for the 8th, right? We could have walked Trout there. How do you not walk him there?
Is it early in the season and we just don't know what we're doing yet? I mean,
I don't know. And then Matone gives up another 3 runs in the inning, and and now it turns into a 7-3 loss. But listen, Kevin Cash is still the best manager in baseball. Nobody's saying anything different. But sometimes I just wonder why we don't do obvious things. That one was a kind of a head scratcher for me. I don't get it. I don't get it. So anyway,
yeah, and you know what? The thing you got to remember is while it's still very, very early in the season, these games matter just as much as the ones in the last 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
So when you give up games like that, just seemingly for no reason or for a silly reason or whatever, those can come back and bite you, just like when you lose bad games late in the season.
Yeah.
So it's equally important to win those games and not make terrible decisions like that. We've had a couple of those from Bruce Bochy and the Rangers, as we're at 500, still leading the division right now over here in the AL West. So
yeah,
questionable things happening in Major League Baseball early for sure.
Yeah, and obviously the Yankees were 12-4 going into last night. I mean, every game is going to count in this AL East, and you're not that good that you're going to be, cruising into the playoffs late in the season. So yeah, every single game matters, and that was, listen, it's a 1-0 lead. It's it's not like you had a 7-0 lead and you blew that.
Yeah.
But the bullpen is an issue, which is supposed to be a strength of the team. Is now the worst ERA in baseball at 6.92. So that's a problem. Your starting pitch, you only really have 3 starters. So your bullpen's, you're going to have to rely a lot on your bullpen. Right now, it just, the Rays are not in a groove. They're just not in a groove, and they need to find that groove at some point. The offense looks punchless for the most part. They get a home run from Ramirez, his first home run last night once they got down. But for the most of this season, you're just seeing a lot of bad at-bats. Rosarena hasn't got going yet. Yandy struggled. Obviously, you don't have Josh Lowe. You don't have Brandon Lau. I mean, it's a whole lot of bad right now.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that they're still, 9-8. So I guess that's the good news, and we'll see what happens today, another game with the Angels. So, all right, quick break. We'll jump back in here. Scott Reynolds will join us, and we'll talk some Buccaneers draft and some Buccaneers football. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Scott Jeeves is going to join us on Thursday, talk some FSU lawsuit. If you've been in an accident, a class action suit, you have got your car totaled, any legal issues whatsoever, call the Jeeves Law Group at JEEVES lawgroup.com. And we are presented by the great folks at Hydrate Heroes. Back in 3 with Scott Reynolds. JP here for my friends at your local Synovus Bank. And I do mean friends, and I do mean local. One of the local managers in Tampa is John Acosta, big fan of the show, and I've known him for over 40 years. He's been in local banking since 1983. You talk about developing relationships. You don't stick around for that long unless you're doing things the right way and have a great reputation. And that's the focus company-wide at Synovus. Big enough to handle any complex international transaction, but small enough to answer the phone when you have an urgent question about your business or personal account. And for personal accounts, they have a very easy app that works great. You can do everything online. And for large or small businesses, you will get that personal touch and services to help build your business, taking your dreams and aspirations from the whiteboard to reality. We can make that happen. Let us show you how. For a Get Acquainted meeting to open a business or personal account, just call John or go to Synovus.com to find out where your local branch is. Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset, so make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance, because if you get sued in this over-litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative, Charity, is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or try to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group, because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com. or call 813-485-6808.
With over 34 years of producing small and large events, Extravaganza Productions is truly a Tampa treasure when it comes to creating some of the very best events in Tampa and all across the United States. I've worked with them at the Florida Sports Hall of Fame inductions, the Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-sized event spread across all of Tampa Bay. They are the very best, from small meetings to exceptionally large corporate conferences to galas, fundraisers, sporting events, grand openings, whatever you want. Team EPI has an extremely talented staff of designers and show producers that develop extraordinary events fueled by the visions of their clients. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All righty, welcome back to a Testosterone Tuesday here on the JP Peterson Show. We'll be talking with Chris Lugo from Bay Area Modern Medical Center a little bit later on in the show, but right now let's bring in a man who's full of testosterone, the great Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report. What's up, Scotty? How are you, my friend?
I am fully charged of testosterone. Thanks
Yes,
to
you
Chris
are.
Lugo.
Yeah.
So, yes. He's the man.
I got to get in on this stuff. I got to get in on this stuff.
Legit, man. It is. It works.
Tim.
It is.
Listen, your body, it's not natural for us all to be so depleted with testosterone just because of all this stuff. Now we know that they are the chemtrails, Scott. This has been confirmed now.
Oh, we got to get in on that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I shouldn't say we're being poisoned. We're poisoning ourselves, really, right? I mean, with all the stuff we're eating and drinking. Yeah.
I know, right? So you gotta fight back, and that's one of the ways you can fight back with getting your testosterone right.
Right.
Well, Scotty, there will be a whole draft full of testosterone laden lads coming up for grabs here next week as we segue into the NFL draft coming up next week. An important time for the Buccaneers. I heard you guys on the podcast talk a little bit about where the Bucs are going. People have brought up if quarterback is something that they're looking at. I just don't believe they are. I think they're singularly focused on making this team better around Baker Mayfield and not really looking towards the future of who the next quarterback is going to be. And I think that's the right play in this instance, as everybody goes gaga over these quarterbacks.
Yeah, and I just think that right now, and you heard Jason Light say it, he admitted it. I mean, I don't think he's the best at smoke screening. I think I would love to play him in poker. I'm not that great of a poker player, but I feel pretty good about my chances of winning. Just reading his facial expressions, but he tells the truth sometimes in those pre-draft pressers. And this team does have a lot of needs, and that's okay. And quarterback just isn't one of them, right? If this was a more complete team, an 11 or 12 win team coming off of last year, where they're just looking for a couple guys to get them over the hump and into the Super Bowl. I would say, okay, yeah, maybe draft a quarterback. I'm not saying don't draft one, but I'm with you, JP. When you look at Baker Mayfield, he is entering the first year of a 3-year deal, right? So you evaluate this year and you look and say, well, did he play similarly to how he did last year? And if that's the case, that's pretty good. 4,000 yards, right? A more than 2-to-1 interception or touchdown interception ratio. And showing enough moxie and grit to get this team into the postseason and win in the playoffs. So not opposed to drafting a quarterback, but I think that's something you can wait until next year. There's always going to be quarterbacks available in the draft every single year. Some years better than others, but we can go back and look at some draft classes that were supposed to be spectacular and they just weren't, right? So it's a position similar to like any other positions. Full of booms and it's full of busts, right? The draft is a crapshoot. And history says if you want a good one, you probably should take one in the first round. And that's where the Bucs won't be shopping for one this year. So yeah, well, why not wait? Because you have other needs. And really that first round pick, that's got to be somebody that comes in and starts to make that pick valuable and worthwhile. And right now those spots are left guard, outside linebacker, wide receiver, right? If you're looking at this Liam Cohen offense and it's a 3 wide receiver offense, they certainly could use an upgrade over Robert Hainsey at center. And you could even stretch and say, okay, if all of those positions, the top guys are off the board at 26 and Jason Light can trade down a little bit, or maybe he can't trade down, he's got a stick and pick. You could even say like Mike Sanistrell from Michigan, right? Nickel cornerback is a starter in Todd Bowles' defense. He plays with two linebackers. It's nickel about 75% of the time. So getting a playmaker there to complement Jordan Whitehead and Antoine Winfield Jr., that's another starting caliber position. Maybe not so much outside corner, but you could also maybe say nickel corner. It'd be a little stretch at 26, but Sandstrell's a good player.
Well, playmakers is where it's at, right? Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that I always say this about the draft. When you look at Super Bowl winning teams, most of the times you're looking at a team that has anywhere from 8 to 12 Pro Bowlers, 4 to 5 All Pros.
Right.
So these are guys that are just elite at their position. They're better than everybody else. They win 75 to 80% of their reps on the. Where can we get guys like that? And it doesn't matter what position they play.
That's right. And honestly, I like the fact that there's a lot of needs, a lot of holes on this team, because it's not going to make Jason Licht say like he made the mistake in 2022 and he kind of admits it. And if you want evidence that he admitted a mistake, look at Logan Hall drafting a defensive tackle with the first pick, right? Top pick in the draft. It was the top of the second round is when Tampa Bay selected for the first time. They drafted Logan Hall. They wanted a more athletic defensive tackle to replace Ndamukong Suh. So that filled a need. But he wasn't the best player available, right? And as a result, they had to draft his replacement the next year in Kalijah Kancey. I think you have a plethora of needs, and you simply don't say we have to take a guard here, we have to take a center, we have to take a pass rusher. Take the best player available, because you got enough holes. You can stick that guy in. You just want an impactful player. And if you can come away with a Pro Bowl caliber player in the first round at any position, it's a win. It's a hit.
And we had Sal Pal on yesterday, and he mentioned a number that was interesting, a couple numbers that were interesting, and that's Hainsey at I think he said was the worst or the second worst run blocking center, according to PFF in the game. And the Bucs were one of 4 teams, and the other ones are really bad, that didn't have a player with 8 sacks or more. And so those are the glaring weaknesses. I think it's the interior offensive line and edge rushing. Now you've told me that edge rusher this is not a great draft for edge rusher, but much better for interior lineman, right?
Yeah, it is. And so at the same time, it almost might make you want to take one at 26, because you got to grab one early, because there's not a lot of good ones later. And that's at least what it seems to be on paper right now. There's a couple of guys. If Latu's there from UCLA, I think it's a no-brainer. You take him. He can win a lot of ways. He's not the perfect prospect, but he's better than what you have on your roster right now in terms of being able to win one-on-one pass rush and get to the quarterback. I think that they might want to look at Marshawn Kneeland from Western Michigan, who's one of my draft crushes. This guy is, in my opinion, the second coming of Cam Jordan. Jordan underwhelmed at Cal in terms of pass rush numbers. I think he had 6 sacks, was the most he ever had in a season. You look at Marshawn Kneeland, 4.5 sacks twice, not a huge terms of volume sacks, but the way he wins is pretty impressive. He is a physical, heavy-handed, balls to the wall, high motor guy that if you put him on a line with some talent around him, I don't know, next to Kalijah Kancey and Vita Vea, opposite Yaya Diaby, right, with Levante David on the second level and Antoine Winfield maybe blitzing from the slot. He's a pretty darn good player in that environment. And when you look at Kneeland, or I should say, look at Cam Jordan, right, who has had a Hall of Fame career with the Saints and made multiple Pro Bowls. He's had 6 double-digit sacks with the Saints in his NFL career. So half of the time he's been in New Orleans, he's gotten double-digit sacks. So sometimes you can get a guy that has the traits and, more importantly, the mentality and the physicality. And it's not like this guy's just a ruffian or a bully. He's a very athletic edge rusher. And so, he's another edge rusher I like. And then maybe later in the draft, Mo Camara. I don't know. There was a Colorado State edge rusher that played pretty well in Tampa Bay named Shaq Barrett, who was undersized at 6'1", 250. And guess what? That's what Mo Camara's stature is 6'1", 248, and he wins a lot of the same way with a quick first step, relentless pass rush, and so there's a couple of guys, but yes, Todd Bowles' defense, it can manufacture sacks. Like they're always going to have 45 plus sacks. You're going to get a couple from the defensive backfield from blitzes. You're going to get a couple from the linebacker level from blitzes. You're going to cobble together from Vita and Cansey and Yaya, and Nelly's going to give you a couple, and JTS will get a couple. You'll cobble together 45 plus sacks. That's a given. That's Todd Bowles' scheme. It'll be a collaborative effort, but you want that Jason Pierre-Paul. You want that Shaq Barrett. You want that guy that strikes fear in opposing offensive coordinators. It makes life easier for the other guys because it's like we really got to worry about Kalijah Cansey and Vita Vea in the middle. So we're going to, use our guards to help the center, get some double teams inside. That's going to leave our tackles one-on-one. And then those edge rushers got to win. Or if you do get that double-digit sacker, let's say it's Eliatu Latu, and you're going to double him, well, that's going to make some one-on-one opportunities for the other guys, and they have to win. I want to believe in Yaya Diaby as a pass rusher. He was a kind of a late bloomer at Louisville. The 7.5 sacks is great. The pressures are good, but I think it was a 6.6 or 6.7% pass rush win rate. That's not good. That's got to improve. Just by comparison, Shaq Barrett only had 4.5 sacks last year, had a 15.5% pass rush win rate. Marquise Watts, seldom used situational rusher, had a 22% pass rush win rate. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, so Yaya's got a ways to go, right, in terms of being able to win one-on-one and be a threat to the quarterbacks down in and down out. The production was good, but we need to see more from Yaya Diaby in year 2. And you know what? I would bet on him. He has the traits, the mindset to do it, but he just has to show he's got to do it. And they can't put all their eggs in the Yaya Diaby basket. They got to find another guy in this draft to get to the quarterback.
Scott, I've seen a curious trend in mocks lately, and this is, here we are, 9 days ahead of the NFL draft. So mocks are just, as they have been, coming out of the woodwork. And I'm a mock draft fool, man. I love watching them and reading them and
me too.
Studying them a little bit. I've seen it. Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen a curious trend for the Bucs here as I've studied some of these, that some guys have the Bucs taken a tight end, even if it's Brock Bowers that's available in the first round. There's no way he slides, but if he somehow did, there's no way they're taking a tight end in the first round.
Oh, if it's Brock Bowers, you might.
If it's Brock Bowers, I would.
Yes. The only thing is, though, is I saw a crazy statistic, and I should have retweeted it or reposted it, whatever it is now on X. That said, all of the it was about Brock Bowers. So I was like, all of the tight ends drafted in the last 10 years in the first round have 0 All-Pros and 0 Pro Bowls and all that type of stuff. And I think Kyle Pitts did make a Pro Bowl his rookie season, I think, in Atlanta. He only had 1 touchdown, but he had 1,000 yards. So sometimes you see things and they're not always accurate on social media. Surprise, surprise.
Shocking development. Yeah.
I know, but yeah, you look at a lot of those first round tight ends and they're just, they're not that good. OJ Howard never lived up to his potential, right? Never lived up to the athleticism and kind of what he showed he could do at Alabama. Sam Laporta was the 2nd round pick, right, by the Lions. The Bucs loved him. He was number 1 tight end on their board last year, but they couldn't get him because he just went too high. So I don't know. I think Brock Bowers can buck the trend. I saw enough at Georgia. What's the saying? Usually greatness shows up early. It doesn't mean that you can't be a late bloomer and really have some success, right? Look at Michael Penix. I mean, okay career at Indiana and then really bloomed in Washington. So sometimes you do that. But I go back to Warren Sapp as a freshman at Miami, right? Kalijah Cansey, even some of his early stuff his freshman year when he was getting on the field was special. Jalen Carter. I mean, I remember when Jordan Davis was getting all the draft hype, and I'm like, wait until Jalen Carter gets in the draft the next year. He's even better than Jordan Davis was, right, in Georgia. So yeah, greatness shows up early, and it showed up early for Brock Bowers as a freshman. This guy was just destroying secondaries, and he's only gotten better. So yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to turn the card in for that guy, whether it's at 10, 20, 30 in the draft, wherever. He's legit.
He's legit, no question. And then the really good teams have great tight ends.
Yeah.
You mentioned Michael Penix, and I was people talking about the quarterbacks, and it's interesting. Michael Penix was okay at Indiana. He was good. I mean, they won some games, right?
Yeah.
But against Big Ten competition, he was okay.
Right.
Bo Nix against SEC competition was average at best.
Yep.
DJ Uiagalelei was average at best at Clemson. They all go to the West Coast in the Pac-12, and they all become superstars.
Yeah, I know.
Caleb Williams. So you got to wonder sometimes, like, are these guys really that good, or is it just that bad in the
They
Pac-12
don't have
in
SEC
terms of
defenses on the West Coast.
No,
they
no,
don't.
they don't.
And
they don't have the tackles, and they don't have the corners.
Right.
And the
and
rush
that
end.
used to kind of be the knock on the Big 12, like back when, even say Mike Leach was at Texas Tech, right? And it was more air raid, right? You had Josh Heupel when he was at Oklahoma. It's there was a couple of seasons where the Big 12 was a bunch of spread offenses, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, this is arena league football. Like nobody plays defense in the Big 12. And now the Big 12 has kind of gotten back to balanced offenses, running the ball more, better defenses. And really it was the Pac-12. We can't call it the Pac-12 anymore. It's dead. But you're right. Yeah. It's where quarterbacks go to thrive, because defenses go to die, and
get their draft stock up.
Yeah. And that is a noteworthy observation on your part, JP, because that is kind of the thing. And with Penix, it's kind of intriguing because he was kind of a one-man gang at Indiana, didn't really have a lot of talent around him. Then he goes to Washington. They're going to have 2 tackles drafted, right, in this year's draft. The running back's going to get drafted, Dylan Johnson. They have 2 tight ends that are fringe day 3 guys, and Westover and Culp, who are pretty good. Oh, and by the way, the receivers are really good, right? Odunze, McMillan, and Polk. And so you kind of have to wonder too. And it's like, I always am a little leery of quarterbacks surrounded by talent. Look no further than Matt Leinart, who had a star-studded cast at USC. Reggie Bush handing the ball off to him, throwing screen passes to him, wheel routes. Sometimes, and we saw this even in the one-on-one, the Mike Evans versus Johnny Manziel. Did Johnny make Mike, or did Mike make Johnny, right? And you find out, right? The NFL will tell you what the answer is. You got to wait for it. But that's my only concern sometimes. And I think that's why, going back to, guys like John Elway, even Jay Cutler at Vanderbilt, he had nobody to throw to. But Jay Cutler had a successful NFL career because, he elevated the guys around him in college. And it's like, you look at John Elway in Denver. I mean, I grew up in Kansas City as a Chiefs fan, and the guy had no talent to work with, hardly. I mean, his receivers like Ricky Natil, but he elevated the play of those around him. And then he finally got, the receiver and Shannon Sharp, and, he had Terrell Davis.
In a running game. Yeah.
In a running game. He finally won the Super Bowl, with that. But that was with Shanahan. And under Dan Reeves, Elway couldn't win the big one because you have to have talent around you. But the thing is find that quarterback. Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech, right? Same thing. Like, his receivers were okay, but they weren't world beaters. But he elevated the play of those around you, and those are the quarterbacks to me that I think give you a better indicator of success, rather than the guys that are surrounded by
great talent. Yeah.
Because if you don't put Michael Penix in a star-studded environment in the NFL, what's going to happen? I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. If you look at quarterbacks, we put so much on the individual player, and what the NFL tells you is you still got to put, unless they're just transcended talents, which, are once in every 10-year guys like a Mahomes. You've got to, it's so much more important to have a great team around him. Look at Brock Purdy.
Yep.
Look at Brock Purdy. Look at Mac Jones. Like when Mac Jones came in his rookie year, they were, the Patriots were a much better football team.
Right.
As soon as he lost, anybody that could block and everything else, it's not brain surgery. These guys need help around them.
Yeah.
Even Tom Brady needed great help around him in Tampa to win a Super Bowl. So I think a lot of times we put so much on these quarterbacks. They got to have something to work with, and we'll see what this group does.
The thing too is when you look at 3 guys that come to mind, they were first round quarterbacks drafted early. Patrick Mahomes, 10th overall, middle, Jordan Love, and then late 32, the Ravens traded up to get Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
What do all three of those quarterbacks have in common? They were drafted by teams that were already good,
Right.
and that had great quarterbacks. I'll put Joe Flacco in the great quarterback category because he won a Super Bowl a couple years prior to them drafting Lamar Jackson. He won a Super Bowl, had a great postseason, and got a big contract. Alex Smith, I think, at the Chiefs, 10 or 11 wins the year they drafted Mahomes.
And
right?
great coaching too.
Yeah. So you're going, you're looking at Harbaugh, you're looking at LaFleur, you're looking at
Andy
Reid. So those are quarterbacks that came in without the pressure. They got to sit back and wait a little bit. They had a veteran quarterback show them how to win the ropes, or learn the ropes from those guys, how to win. Yeah. And then when it was their time, it just like they already had that accelerated learning curve. It wasn't we're sticking you out here, Jameis Winston or Marcus Mariota, and you're getting, shredded in your rookie season. And because there's an accumulative effect, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Look no further. You are old enough, JP, to remember David Carr, not Derek Carr, but his older brother David, coming out of Fresno State, got destroyed by the Houston.
He got sacked 75 times, I think.
Yeah. And he just didn't have a chance.
Season.
Didn't have a chance. It totally changed his game because he would take the snap, and instead of looking at where are my receivers, he's looking at where's the pass rush.
Right.
And it wrecked his NFL career. He was damaged goods from his rookie season on. He didn't have a chance. And that happens to so many quarterbacks. And you go back and look, way back in the day, the Achilles Smiths, right? Even the Christian Ponders, guys that weren't overly talented, right? But it's like, gosh, if they were in a better system, in a better scheme, you look at Brock Purdy, right?
That's what I said.
He's not that talented, but he's got weapons galore. He's got a solid offensive line, and I don't know, Kyle Shanahan knows a thing or two about offense. So sometimes it's not about talent; it's about fit. It's about, am I in the right city? Am I on the right team? Do I have the right offensive line in front of me? Do I have the right playbook? Am I a good scheme fit? Do I have the weapons to work with, right? Do I have a defense
so much
that can give me a lead, right? That we put 7 on the board and they pitch a 3 and out, and then we put 3 on the board. Now we're up 10-0. They pitch another shutout in that quarter. Now we're up 17-0, and I'm just cruising and hand the ball up to the running back and winning the game.
So I have a takeaway from all of this, Scott, that you're describing when you're talking about quarterbacks sitting behind other quarterbacks and learning the system and then getting a shot and succeeding. So my takeaway is, here in a couple of years, better watch out for Trey Lance and the Cowboys. That's all I'm saying.
And sometimes those quarterbacks that are drafted just aren't very good. So there's that.
Well, what comes along with Trey Lance is $60 million more to spend on other players when you don't have Dak Prescott.
That's true. There is that. Yeah. And who knows?
Hey, they haven't paid him yet. Watch out. They haven't paid him yet.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe we're writing Trey Lance off to begin with. Here's one concern, though, too, since we're talking about quarterbacks. If you look at the Buccaneers and maybe kind of what they're doing this year, maybe Sua Opeta starts at left guard. Maybe Ben Bredesen beats out Robert Hainsey. But how much of an upgrade is that? Could be looking at a rookie left guard, if it's not Opeta, or a rookie center. Maybe it's Jackson Powers Johnson, right? If it's not Hainsey.
Let's hope so.
And Cody Mauch in his second year at right guard, who was very up and down, had great flashes of greatness and then awful flashes of awfulness, right? Sometimes in the same series, certainly in the same game. But I understand it. Mauch is an athlete. You got to throw him in there and let him just get the experience.
Let him
learn. But if you're Baker Mayfield, and we had Greg Cosell, the great Greg Cosell from NFL Films, on our podcast 2 weeks ago, and he said, for a vertically challenged, that's my word, not his, quarterback like Baker Mayfield, 6'1", 215, you have to have that clean pocket for him to step and throw. He's a rhythm thrower. He's got to step and throw, right? And when you have rookie second-year player, right, or rookie second-year player and Robert Hainsey, if that's your interior, are you better? I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
No,
maybe not in 2024, and you kind of need to be if you want to take that next step and that next jump. So that's going to be an area of concern, even though you draft guys, and maybe Jason Light hits on the next Ali Marpet, where you get a guy that comes in and plays above his years, like Tristan Wirfs did as a rookie at right tackle. Maybe that's the case. Maybe you get a player that's a plug and play, and he wows you from whether it's first, second, or third round pick, whatever it is. That's the hope. But if you count on 2 young players, let's say you get somebody to unseat Hainsey and you get a starting left guard, that's rookie, and second-year player and right guard Cody Mauch. You're asking for trouble in that situation.
I agree.
I hope the picks work out and pan out. But you know who hopes they pan out more than me? Baker Mayfield. Because if not, he's going to be feeling the wrath.
He's going to be on the ground a lot.
Yeah, they're going to be putting him on the ground and all.
Well,
he's going to be
all you got to do is
with David Carr.
Yeah. All you got to do is look at the difference between. I know there were other factors, but the one big factor, the difference between Tom Brady and 21 and 22, Ryan Jensen.
Yeah, and
the
Ali
difference
Marpet.
between
those
and
two
Ali
guys
Marpet
being gone. I mean, it was a stark contrast.
Huge.
How many
and Brady's a step and throw guy too, big time step and throw guy.
Well, he was in 2022, but it was step and throw in the dirt because
step backwards and throw.
Exactly, step back and throw in the dirt. Right, and preserve yourself for retirement.
Center, that's why I say center. If you can get Jackson Powers Johnson, you can get a great center in this draft. That's the most dramatic way to improve this team because it improves your run game.
Yeah.
It improves your pass game because Baker can step and throw. And if you have somebody stout that's not getting pushed back all the time, I mean, that's the number one. And if I'm Jason Light and I get and that guy, Jackson Powers Johnson, falls anywhere close to me, I'm using that 3rd round pick and I'm jumping up and I'm getting him. That to me would be if we're sitting here on Friday of next week and say, Jason Light moved up 4 spots to get, or 5 spot, whatever it is, to get Jason Powers Johnson. We spent a 2nd and a 7th round pick. I'm like, a 3rd and 7th round pick. I'm like, good, great move, great move.
Well, it's interesting because when I asked him in the press conference last week, when do you think about trading up or down? Right. And what I was trying to say is like, do you think in advance? Do you do it when you're on the clock? Like in terms of trading back, right? And I think he misinterpreted my question because he says we're actually doing that right now, meaning we're planning for those scenarios. We're mock
running
drafting,
scenarios,
and all that. But then he finally came around and answered the question, which is we'll know about 20, right? We'll know about pick 20 about whether we're going to be trading up or trading down. And that's kind of when I want it. And he kind of told on himself there, right? Because if you look at 20, and I believe that's the Pittsburgh Steelers, right?
Yeah,
you get the Seahawks at 16. That's probably as early as Jackson Powers Johnson could go. And if he clears that hurdle, and if he gets past the Steelers, let's say the Steelers go offensive tackle, right? Which is also a need. If they go offensive tackle and they don't draft Jackson Powers Johnson, and maybe you've got Jackson Powers Johnson and Graham Barton, right? Either one of those guys can play center in this league and I think do it well. I think Ali Marpet 2.0 is Graham Barton and Ryan Jensen 2.0 is Jackson Powers Johnson. And so if one or both of those guys is still there when pick number 21 comes around, then I think Tampa Bay could spring into action and do that, right? You don't want to trade up and then not have the player be there, right? So you want to do it when 21's on the clock or whatever. You try to move up. You got to get ahead of Dallas. Probably have to get ahead of Philadelphia as well because, I mean, Jason Kelsey, right? That's a big hole. So I could see the Eagles possibly taking, a center there. And they invest in offensive linemen. And, that would
Sal
be.
Powell says, no way Philadelphia takes the center in the 1st round.
Okay.
He said, no. I said, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
I wouldn't trust
Dallas,
it. I don't.
Dallas certainly could go that route, right? They need someone to replace Tyler Biadasz, and we know Jera likes to draft offensive linemen too. So Zach Martin
He does. He doesn't always make the wise decisions, but
correct. Yep.
Tyler Smith has worked out okay.
Tyler Smith. Yep.
He let Tyron go, and that was probably the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it always his son that has to talk him into drafting an offensive lineman? Doesn't he want to take Johnny Manziel, and then people kick him out of the room or something and say we're taking an offense? Isn't that normally how it works?
There is no question that they have to fight him and Will McClay, who's their draft guru, have to fight Jerry over draft picks. Sometimes, not every time, but sometimes.
Right. Well, I mean,
can you imagine Joel or Brian being in the draft room, in the war room, like yelling and screaming for a pick? I'm like, no, that's not. Thank God,
exactly.
That's not what our owners are doing.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, right? We're talking just first rounders that started for Dallas. Tyler Biadasz, he was a first round pick, right? Out of Wisconsin, late first round. Zach Martin,
Yep.
out of Notre Dame. And then Tyron Smith was a first rounder too.
Yep. USC.
And then Tyler Smith.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's 4 offensive linemen that they've drafted in the past decade that, that
Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, Hall of Famers, by the way.
Yeah.
Be. And then look what happened last year when they went defensive line in the first round with Mozzie Smith.
Yeah.
Out of Michigan. Huge bust. Huge failure.
They don't do that very well.
No. Offensive line they can do, but yeah.
They're really good at the Cowboys are really good at drafting injured linebackers though. So I would expect them to take Peyton Wilson at some point. Right.
I mean, Jalen Smith kind of worked out, but
But I mean, he came in. Wasn't he the guy, the Notre Dame linebacker that broke his leg or something in the bowl game, and they
tore his knee, blew his knee out.
Yeah, right. So I'm just saying, it's like between he and who was the Boise State linebacker, the one guy just retired,
Leighton Vander Esch.
Yes, I mean that's another one.
The Wolf Hunter.
Yeah.
The Wolf. All right, Scotty. We got stuff coming up for draft week. What's going on at Pewter Report?
Yeah, we have Servassier Dennis, last year's 5th round pick, linebacker out of Pitt, and former and current teammate of Kalijah Cansey, both at Pitt and Tampa Bay. He'll be on our podcast today at 4:00 live on Pewter Report TV. The Pewter Report podcast is live Mondays through Thursdays at 4:00. If you missed the live show, you can always catch the archived replay, and that's on Pewter Report TV. We're asking you to subscribe. We're on our way to 14,000 subscribers, so please join the Pewter people, join the masses, and do that. Next week, we have our live draft shows, live from One Buck Place, where we'll be having 3 days of wall-to-wall draft coverage starting an hour before the draft and running every single minute of the draft. So it's about 20-plus hours of wall-to-wall draft coverage starting Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. And then Friday, we start an hour before the draft at 6 o'clock. And then we start at 11 o'clock a.m. on Saturday morning to finish day 3 of the draft. So we'll have Pewter Report podcast next Monday and Tuesday. Take Wednesday off. And then we'll have our live draft show from team headquarters Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the draft. So check that out. You can also follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report, and the mothership, pewterreport.com, for all of our draft previews and our Bucks best bets. We'll have our new mock draft next Monday on pewterreport.com. It'll be our final mock as we enter draft week.
Fun.
All right, good stuff, my friend. And you were there for the real Rachaad White that talked yesterday that we're going to play here. In our second hour, not the imposter Rachaad White who I
when
met
you sent
last
that picture
night.
to me, I'm like, it doesn't look like Rachaad White. Nice try, guy, but
he had the sunglasses on, the same hairdo, the goatee. I mean, the same, and the jersey that said White, like number 1 White. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
what's going? Good for him. All right, thanks, Scotty. Appreciate it.
Got it, man. See you.
I'm about to have an allergy attack if you can't tell already, Tim. So let's get the break as soon as we possibly can so I can sneeze like 15 times. Back in 3 minutes. Stay with us.
You're listening to The Strike. 102.5 WHPT. Sarasota, Tampa, St. Pete.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, you're going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show. It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on TrueBody and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
Did you know Steve Weintraub founded the Gold and Diamond Source over 40 years ago by selling gold-plated sand dollars? And to celebrate, the Gold and Diamond Source is selling gold sand dollar jewelry with the proceeds supporting Julie and Steve Weintraub's foundation, Hands Across the Bay. Yes, in 1984, Steve opened their first location, expanded to 9 stores as far as Atlanta, but now they've consolidated all that inventory under one roof, becoming one of the largest family-owned fine jewelry stores in the country. Julie, of course, joined forces with her husband 20 years ago, and they're going to celebrate by offering up to 40% off select jewelry items. Plus, with gold prices near all-time highs, it's the perfect time to trade in your broken or unworn pieces for something new and stunning. Unlock the value in your jewelry box today at the Gold and Diamond Source. It's always one place, and it's always a great place. The Gold and Diamond Source celebrating their 40th anniversary, 3800 Olmington Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we roll on a Testosterone Tuesday. Chris Lugo is going to join us at 11:30 here today, so we'll be talking a little Hydrate Heroes as well. Hydration, very important as we come up to summertime where we'll get this sweltering heat and you'll be working outside or playing outside. You're going to make sure you hydrate. I was just saying to myself as we talk about the Hydrate Heroes, 8 times the benefits. Since I started drinking this, my joint pain that has been very prevalent as I reach my 60s has kind of dissipated. Like, usually like if I sit for a while and I get up, man, my knees are hurting, and hydrating and getting some of these great elements into your body must be helping that as well, because I've noticed a definite difference in the last 2 weeks. I'm probably drinking 3 or 4 of these drinks a day. And it's making a difference a lot of different ways. So hydration helps in every part of your body at the cellular level. So make sure you get some Hydrate Heroes. Go to hydrateheroes.com and get we're going to be offering a free sample pack, a 3-pack for absolutely free. So you can try it, taste it, love it. And then you can order at Hydrate Heroes, $29.99 for a 30-pack. And you just shake them up, put the powder in here, shake them up, and you got to drink instead of paying $2.75 for a Gatorade. Or how much do you pay for that Red Bull? There's 17 Red Bulls you drink every day.
I buy them by the 4-pack, and they're about $8 $8.50.
Yeah,
for 4-pack.
Yeah. Better, cheaper. Go with your hydrateheroes.com.
Waiting on my package to come in.
All right,
make my lifestyle change.
It's another
JP.
Today's to-do list.
Every single day that we delay this, it's taking weeks off of my life.
I know. I'm killing you. I'm literally killing you. Like the
my blood is on your hands.
All right. All right. So we got to get to all these other very important things that we wanted to talk about here today. This is interesting. The Ybor Harbor has been approved by the Tampa City Council. This new redevelopment, it's going to be incredible right there in downtown on the harbor. All residential condos, marinas. There's going to be a boardwalk there along the waterway. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. There was supposed to be a baseball stadium as part of that development, but evidently that's not going to happen. As Daryl Shaw goes forward with all these great plans that he had for incorporating a Rays baseball stadium in Tampa and downtown, somewhere around Ybor. But unfortunately, Stu Sternberg did not want to play, and away we go. And we're going to have, by the way, stadium update. We'll have those council meetings in late May. And then there's going to be a vote in early June, a couple of votes in early June that will clear the way for this St. Pete thing if they go through with it. But there's a lot of politicking left to do in that whole deal. But the Ybor Harbor thing is moving forward, so that's going to be, at least at this point, without a baseball stadium. I'm sure they could read it. If an opportunity comes up where it is, it's back on the table, which could happen if it doesn't go through in St. Pete. I'm sure Daryl Shaw would be open to, redeveloping that with a baseball stadium, because obviously it would make it a lot more valuable. But much to come as those things move forward. So this was weird yesterday, Tim. John Sterling no longer calling Yankees games effective immediately. And I've been trying to see if there's a reason why. I haven't seen a reason why. He just decided I'm done.
I haven't heard anything. The assumptions are that it's, health related.
Yeah.
But, no announcement has been made. He just announced his retirement very suddenly. And that was it. Like, no build up to it, no goodbye to her, no nothing.
Yeah, weird, right?
Yeah.
And he hasn't disclosed what the health issue might be.
No, I know that one of the only quote I've seen from him is says, "I leave my post very, very happy." And that was it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So you tell me you read last night, or you guys talked about on your show, that O.J. Simpson, his son, Jason, is the one. Is it Jason?
Jason, yes.
Yeah. You believe now that he was the one that murdered Nicole and Ron.
Yeah. So like we talked about, I think it was Friday, right? I never thought OJ did it. Like, going back to when it was all happening in real time, I never thought he did it. Now, did I think he had some part of it or knew who did? Yes, 100%. I thought that. So that doesn't make him innocent necessarily, right? I just didn't think he did the actual murder. And there was tons of substantial or circumstantial evidence, stuff found at the scene they could not link to OJ. Well, I found this article yesterday, and when I tell you how far back this goes, you're going to crap your pants. So, long story short is there is a very well-known private investigator in the LA area whose buddy, who's not in private investigator, he's not in law enforcement, bids on like storage buildings, right? That people don't pay for. Like, I mean, they have old TV show around that, right?
Yeah.
So he did this not knowing what's in it. He wins it. He goes and opens it up, and it is an old storage building of Jason Simpson's. He starts digging through things. He finds boxes and boxes of clothes, photo albums, a knife.
A what?
A knife that is wrapped up in about 4 different items of clothing at the bottom of one of the boxes. And just stuff that Jason Simpson owned, right? So for those that don't remember, because I had forgotten his at all involvement in the murder, any investigation surrounding him, I forgot OJ had a son named Jason. Okay, that's how far out of my memory this was.
Right.
So in this mess of stuff that this guy found is articles of clothing that have been partially burned. They found one of the biggest pieces of evidence was a photo album that contained pictures of Jason with his dog, right, from the early 90s.
Right.
Wearing the black navy type skull knit hat that was found at the scene. Looks just like it. That they've never been able to link to OJ. When the DNA testing they did on it, which was very, not very technological at the time, had human hair and canine hair in it. OJ didn't have a dog. Jason had a dog. The knife that was found that they thought that they found at OJ's place didn't fit the cut wounds, right? The slash wounds on the victims. Not even close. The knife found in the storage building fit the slash wounds perfectly.
Really? How do we know that? Did they do a test on it?
No, just wait for it. No, but just from the private investigators' investigation into it, right? Because he still has access. I mean, it's all public record. It's part of the trial. There are they found his diary. They found Jason Simpson's diary, where he talks about he's going to use his knife, and this was like 3 weeks before the murders. I'm going to use this knife to get rid of my problems. He had a criminal past, multiple charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon every single time it was a knife. He had diagnosed rage disorder, and a month before the murders, he'd gone off his medication.
Holy moly.
That's
a lot of circumstantial evidence.
Yeah, like I said, the Navy cap is the big one with his. But see, here's the thing: they never did any investigation into Jason. O.J. Simpson hired a defense team for Jason before he hired one for himself. But the LAPD never went after Jason. They focused on O.J. immediately. He has no alibi for that night. Okay, this goes back to the initial investigations. The murders took place between like 9:45 and 10:05. After 9:45, when he was with his friends, close by the way, at a bar, they don't know where he went. He has no alibi for those 15, 20 minutes. So, like, yes, it's all circumstantial for sure. But, oh, by the way, Jason's a much smaller person than his dad. The gloves would have fit Jason. So let me tell you, this happened. This storage thing happened in the year 2000, 24 years ago. All of this was found. The LA Police Department said, we're good. We don't want any part of it. Not interested.
Of course. They don't want to reopen the case. Of course not. You think they want any part of that?
All of the guys involved in the investigation back then were still there, like or most of them. Mark Furman was in 2000. And they're all like, nah, we're good. Thanks a lot. So now here we are 24 years later. This guy's written a book about all of it and has pictures, all the evidence listed. The LAPD to this day, now we're good. Thanks, though. Appreciate you. Go publish your book. We'll get a good laugh out of it. It's all good.
Nothing is real. Everything we thought we knew, we don't know. Not even the sun. The sun's not even real.
No, it's a simulator now. I've never even heard of such a thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's so great.
Well, you know what? I might have to. I'm not going to go read the whole book, but I'm intrigued. No question about it.
So just go. You can go. Everybody go to Google and just search, or whatever your search engine, Alta Vista, if that's what you want, or Ask Jeeves, wherever you go. Just search Jason Simpson theory. Boom. It's all out there.
I'm in. All right, though. Let's get to some of our great commenters here today. We got a lot of different mock drafts that are out there. No question. Everybody looking at Chop Robinson. Yes, Chop Robinson has been mentioned 1,000. I think that's the most mocked player to the Bucks is Chop Robinson. As Bucks Race Bolt says, Chop from Penn State too. Yeah. I would say 40% of the mock drafts I see have Chop Robinson or Letu going to the Buccaneers, which Chop Robinson doesn't have the production that you would like to see, but certainly has a lot of the measurables you'd love to see. Yeah. Nathan Elliott says baseball will eventually leave the Tampa area. I do not know when, but it will happen. I don't think I don't know. I've always been very confident it'll be in Tampa, but I still don't think this is going to happen in St. Pete. This deal is such a boondoggle, and I think the government entities are starting to realize that, especially at a time when they just can't afford to commit that much money to something that's just not that is a failed enterprise. Number one. So, Recon Scott says evidence was planted. There's plenty of documentaries. You just can't put that beyond the LAPD. Focused on the big name and publicity of the OJ name. I don't think there's any question.
Yeah, James says, for sure. Maybe Bigfoot.
It was definitely Bigfoot. It was definitely Bigfoot that did it. All right, thank you for your input, all of you great people here. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll listen. Actually, let's do a little. Yeah, we'll break. Let's break right now. We'll come back. We'll get to Rachaad White. Chris Lugo is going to join us as well. Lots more coming your way here on the JP Peterson Show. We are brought to you by the great folks at Extravaganza Production, Paul Thomason, Dolly Brown, all the great folks over there. If you have any event coming up right now, big or small, and you need a professional team to set it up for you so you don't have to worry about any of the audio, the visual, any of that stuff, Extravaganza Productions, that's the place to go. If you have a big charity event coming up, you've run it for a while maybe, you want to do something a little bit different, a different theme. They've got a warehouse full of stuff that can spur your mind. In fact, you'll get a free creative meeting with the folks at Extravaganza Productions. If you go to their website, mention the JP Peterson Show, and they will give you that free creative meeting. So go check it out. Go have fun in the warehouse there, and maybe you'll come up with a great theme for your event and use the great people at Extravaganza Productions. Back in 3. Stay with us. Hey, it's a great time to buy a house and get a mortgage with American Mortgage Services. Okay, I got your attention now. But JP, rates are at 8%. That's true. But I spoke with our friend Scott Fitzgerald at AMS Tampa, and this is what smart people are doing. Rates peaked at 8% last month, but they've come down, and AMS recently locked some folks in the high 6s. Prices have also stabilized or dropped in some areas. So if you're going to eventually buy, now is the best time to get the house you want. Fitz will get you the best rate out there, shopping it around to dozens of lenders. And when rates come down in a year or so and the frenzy begins again, prices go bananas again, you will already have the pick of the litter. Then he will refinance you and keep costs at nearly zero because that's what they do at AMS Tampa. You're back at 4% in the house you wanted while others fight the frenzy. Be smart. Stay one step ahead. Email Fitz at scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. Scott Fitzgerald, NMLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset, so make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance, because if you get sued in this over-litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative, Charity, is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance.
JP here for Extravaganza Productions. You know, I've worked with these pros on so many big and small events. They recently did the Kappa Alpha Psi Grand Reunion, the Tampa RV Show Exhibit. They did the Skills Center opening of Tampa Bay. They can do those small events. They do the biggest of events. So if you were thinking about planning a meeting or special event, call the talented staff at Team EPI. They will give you a free creative meeting if you mention the JP Peterson Show. They will provide you with an exceptional experience. Heck, they'll even show you their huge warehouse with great props. Anything you want. They'll do it on time and on budget. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. An article in Times the other day about fly-by-night home insurers that have come into the state of Florida. Make sure you're with a good company. Of course, if you're with Italiano Insurance and they're shopping your insurance around, they will not put you with one of these companies. They'll put you with companies that will definitely answer the call if something happens to your home, if there's a hurricane. Companies that are solid that will be there to handle your claim. So that's another great benefit of working with Italiano Insurance. Let them do all the work, you do all the saving, and get with good companies. 813-877-7799. All right, let's check in, since it is Testosterone Tuesday, with our good friend Chris Lugo from Bay Area Modern Medical.
He's in
Center.
the building!
Hey. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Morning, gentlemen. How's it going?
Good. Did you get a chance to check out your Florida Gators spring game
I
this
did
week?
not. No. A little more important things to be doing right now than checking out spring games. That's besides the point.
Come on, man. It's football. It's college. It's Gator football. It's your love. Well,
Yeah, but you're making me feel like the year is already flying by. I mean, we're already in mid-April, so we're talking about football.
Before you know it, you guys will have lost 7 games. Don't worry. It's all.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Hey, it's that SEC, man. It's that tough schedule you got. So good luck with all that.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to talk about our good friends at Hydrate Heroes this morning, and I was just talking about my joint pain. Is it possible to get less joint pain if you're way better hydrated than I was before? Because since I started drinking this stuff, my joint pain has been significantly less. Let's say, is that possible?
Yeah, definitely. If you're getting dehydrated, you're going to get little aches and pains all over your body. So staying hydrated is a big thing. You always got to find that pleasure and that pain as far as hydration, and then waking up 3 or 4 times a night to pee, though. So always hydrate early. Thanks, Tim. Always hydrate early in the day, and then tone it back so you're not doing too much.
Yeah, well, so we shouldn't be drinking a whole bottle of water before you go to bed. Is that didn't Tom Brady tell me to do that?
Bed. No, that's a bad thing to catch up late in the race.
Oops.
What
about 2 Red Bulls right before bed?
It depends if you're a fast metabolizer or a slow metabolizer.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Very, very slow.
If you're a slow metabolizer, you're definitely going to be up all night long. So remember, guys,
slow everything.
That's the important thing you're going to be doing.
Damn it.
All right, so give me a rundown on the Hydrate Heroes, the great stuff that's in this stuff, the amla fruit, the elderberry, the zinc, potassium, magnesium. What do you think?
Yeah, so I like the elderberry in there. That's a great little thing. So it's a good thing for me if you're getting sick. It's probably a good drink to be using. It's got the vitamin D in there also. Not a tremendous amount of vitamin D, only 24 micrograms, not a lot. I normally recommend 250 micrograms. That's 10,000 international units a day. But if you're getting your vitamin D from multiple sources, it's going to add up over time.
Yeah, good. And they give 15% to the National Guard and other military things. So
Awesome.
There you go.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I love that. So as summer approaches, talk a little bit about hydration and how important it is and what we should be doing before workouts, early in the morning, etc.
Or drinking alcohol. Yeah. So hydration is going to be really important. So drinking alcohol during the summertime, alcohol inhibits ADH, anti-diuretic hormone, and that's a hormone that we secrete to keep fluid back in our system. We secrete that hormone actually at nighttime for bed. That's why you're able to sleep through the night without waking up to pee, Tim. So when you're drinking alcohol, it inhibits ADH, so that's why you pee more. That's why you get dehydrated. So hey, have that beer and have a hydrate in between, a Hydrate Hero in between there. So back and forth, hydrate, drink. Okay, that's the more thing that you want to do. If not, you're going to be in the hospital because of dehydration or sun exposure.
Yeah, that we most definitely do not want. And there's obviously the energy drinks that are out there as well. Those can be problems, especially with kids who drink a lot of these energy drinks as well, right?
Yeah, so knowing your genetic makeup is kind of important. So I'll give you an example. Caffeine for me, one of my genes that has it, actually caffeine makes me a little anxious if I drink too much of it. I can do 100 to 200 milligrams safely. If I go beyond that, and I will think about days when I was drinking a couple bangs to get through the day, I got very anxious on over 300 milligrams of caffeine. So knowing genetic makeup will kind of make sense. Some people, like Timmy's like, for example, I know a guy that you actually know too, JP. This guy can drink 3 Mountain Dews at dinner time and go to bed. Like he's a fast metabolizer of caffeine. So it doesn't affect him. If you're a slow metabolizer, you kind of already know. You look at a cup of coffee and you get palpitations and jittery. So knowing your genetic makeup really does help. You don't have to do blood work to find out. You can kind of just know, but other things, it's good to know.
So I must be a fast metabolizer because caffeine has never, since I was a teenager, I can't remember it really ever affecting me. It doesn't keep me up at night. I've drank sodas my entire life, including late at night. I used to drink old Jolt Cola all the time with all the caffeine in it, and just I can have a Red Bull right before I go to bed, and I'm fast asleep. I mean, it's
You're
never
a fast
bothered.
metabolizer of caffeine, correct? Yeah.
Okay, that's probably good though, right?
It's a good thing. Yeah, I guess if you want to call it a good thing, it's you can drink before you go to bed. That's okay.
And,
Well,
but
why are you
caffeine's
drinking the
also-
caffeine?
But caffeine's also a weak diuretic, Tim. So that's probably what's keeping you up at nighttime peeing too.
Yeah, dude, because I get up 5 to 7 times a night to go to the bathroom.
No bueno. I got to get you sleeping better, Tim. When are you going to fly from Texas over to Florida?
Well,
So
I've
we
had some
can
invites. I
understand.
got to get out there. I will definitely come see you. I will schedule a time because I got to get the sleep thing straightened out because I don't sleep well at night. I go to sleep and I wake up all through the night and it makes me tired. I got these bags under my eyes since I turned 50.
Well, maybe it's because you're drinking a Red Bull before you go to bed. Maybe that's why you can't sleep.
It tastes good.
All right.
I don't need to be a doctor to tell you that. But Chris, how do you talk about how you metabolize things differently? How do you get can you tell by the blood work, or is there, because I know there's DNA swabbing that you can do to figure out what are the programs out there? Do you handle that as well, to do DNA swabbing to find out what medicines you metabolize and foods, etc. best?
My hypothesis, we're going to go on a little rabbit hole to answer that question, though. My hypothesis, one day you're going to be sick. You're going to walk into an emergency room. You're going to get swabbed. They're going to run that genetic makeup through a machine. They're going to know every single drug that you need to be on and what does work and what doesn't work for JP Peterson, for Tim Ham. Okay, and that's what's going to make us different. Hey, this is going to work best for you. For antibiotics, this antibiotic is going to work better for your genetic makeup. We actually already do that. There's a company out there called GeneSight. So those who have mental health disease or on medications, hey, just because I like Prozac doesn't mean that you're going to like Prozac, JP. So just because it's my favorite drug to put people on because I know what the side effects are going to be doesn't mean it's going to work well for you. So anybody who's on those medications and I'm hearing wonky stories like it works, it doesn't work, I always send them off for a GeneSight. Back to your question is, I did my stuff through 23andMe. I actually got the raw data from 23andMe and I sent it off to Dr. Rhonda Patrick. She's one of the girls I like to follow. She's a PhD who loves about fitness, and she runs it through her database and she'll spit me out information. That's where I got some of my information. So you don't necessarily need me for that. Can I help you interpret the results? Yes, I can help you interpret the results, but you don't need me to initiate that.
I did the 23andMe thing, so I already have all that information. I just need to send it to somebody, right?
Yeah, so you need to go to 23andMe, download the information. It's going to come in a text file once you do that. And if you belong to Rhonda Patrick, you can upload your information to her site and she'll spit it back out to you and give you a report. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. I just followed her on X, so I just found her on social media.
And that will tell you like the foods you metabolize the best and the medicines?
Not necessarily. Her database is a little limited as far as what she looks at, but there are some specific genes for sleep, specific genes for methylation.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it, Gary Braca. Like I told you before, I don't bash other providers, but he's not a provider, so I will bash Gary Braca. I like Grant Cardone, but Grant Cardone, who's backing Gary Braca right now. So take him with a grain of salt, please, guys. He's slightly dangerous in that sense that he's a human biologist. But knowing your genetic makeup, knowing MTHFR gene, MTRR gene, that's important information to know because there's a lot of people going, yeah, this stuff doesn't work for me. And come to find out, they've got a genetic abnormality going on or genetic makeup that makes them a little bit different. So we're all unicorns in that sense.
Yeah, I did it with a company like 6 or 7 years ago that was peddling the DNA results, and they gave me a huge printout of medicines that work and don't will work better for me. And I just anecdotally I looked at it and I said that's right. Like Advil works really well for me. Yeah. Other ibuprofens don't. So it is, and they're I don't know if they're different formularies. You look at the generic, like this is a good question. You take generic ibuprofen, is it the same as Advil? What are there differences?
Tremendously. So to be a generic antibiotic, Prozac, any generic medication at all, to get that, to be able to make that drug as a pharmacy, Okay, I'm XYZ Pharmacy. Viagra goes generic. I want to be able to produce it. I put in a bid for it. I only have to be 80% effective as the original drug. All generics will have different fillers, different makeups on them, so you can get different side effects. I've got a couple of guys who, hey, look, I've got to get XYZ Cialis Tadalafil because it doesn't work as good as MNOP Pharmacy. I'm like, really? I'm like, I've got some guys who will swear by that, who will tell me that. I don't have much women say that, but there are a few women that I will have who will tell me, hey, I have to be on branded Synthroid, not levothyroxine, which is the generic nerve for T4, because it works better for me. That is because of fillers in there.
Interesting. All right. So if you're just buying generic brands, even ibuprofen, and you just pay attention because it may not be working as whatever brand, they're different fillers, different things. Pay attention to what works for you. Pay attention to what works for you. It might work for you sometimes, may not work for you. You'll know, hey, I did this a couple of times. It's not as effective when I take this. Why is that? That's because the fillers inside that generic compound might be affecting you, might not be working as well. Interesting stuff. As always, we learn great stuff from you. Chris Lugo, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you, my friend, and get an appointment. Make it easy. Always go to the website. You guys can book an appointment day, night, whenever you want to. You don't have to call the office if you don't want to. BAMMC.com. You schedule now, top right button. You'll see the schedule, see what days and time works best for you. Or if you want to call, you can always chat with me, but in your own convenience, go to the website. Sounds good, my friend. Appreciate you. We'll catch up with you next week. Thanks. All right, sounds great, Don. Take care. Yeah, it's really interesting because you go into Walgreens or whatever, and you're just like, oh, here's this generic brand is $4 less than Advil, and you're like, oh, just give me that, and you're like, wait, this doesn't work like the Advil does. Yeah, and I've noticed that before, and I don't know, I didn't know it had to do with genetic makeup and stuff, but I can't buy generic ibuprofen; it has to be Advil. Yeah. Like Benadryl stuff, I can buy generic store brand and it works just as well as Benadryl, but there's other things I have to buy the brand name for whatever reason, and it only that works. And then there's other stuff I can do generic and it works just fine. So I don't know what the difference is. That's very interesting. And now you know. And I do think that those genetic markers are going to play a huge role in personalized medicine as we move forward. I think he's 100% correct with that. That's been something that a lot of people have been talking about. But again, you gotta make sure you're in tune with your own body and pay attention to those things because your instincts are probably correct. Like, yeah, that Advil works a lot better, or that whatever brand name. If it does, pay attention to that. And it's worth the extra $4, right? Sure. Yeah. If it actually works at that particular point. Yeah. Exactly. All right. Let us take one more break. When we come back, we'll hear from the real Rachaad White. They had some interesting things to say about the new offense, how run-centric it is. And we'll get into a couple other fun nuggets as well. Quick break here. We're brought to you by the great folks at Synovus Bank. Ran into my good friend John Acosta last night at the Lightning game. We'll be chatting with him on Friday. It's the neighborhood bank for you folks. It's the big bank, has all the bells and whistles of a big bank, but feels like the neighborhood bank that it is. A lot of local folks that have been in local banking for a long time working at Synovus Bank. Go to synovus.com and find a place near you and go change from your old bank to your new bank, which should be Synovus. Stay with us. Back at 3. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man, Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group, because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808. Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset, so make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance, because if you get sued in this over-litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative, Charity, is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this Testosterone Tuesday as we roll through. Tough night for the home teams. Bolts losing 4-2 to a going nowhere Buffalo team. But playoffs are just around the corner. 40 goals for Steven Stamkos, 99 assists for Kucherov. Hopefully they can get to 100 on Wednesday night against Toronto. We'll find out who they play in the first round tonight, whether it's Boston or Florida. So we'll be ready for that. And the Bolts will start early next week. The playoffs start, I don't know if they're going to start this weekend. I think they're going to start them like Monday, maybe Monday, Wednesday. And then, of course, the Amalie Arena has a show on Friday night, which is Hart. And who else? There's other.
I like Hart.
Yeah, Hart. I guess the Wilson sisters are still doing the Hart thing.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Let's hope so. Who else is playing with them? I'm trying to remember. Whatever. Anyway, so that's on Friday night. So they'll probably be when the first game 1 or game 3 and 4 will probably be Wednesday or Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Likely Thursday, since I have an event to do on Thursday. I'm sure they'll schedule.
They'll schedule it for that. Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to tonight is the Book of Mormon. Have you ever seen the Book of Mormon?
No.
On Broadway or off Broadway? Dude, without question, the funniest,
really
most irreverent stage play I've ever seen in my life. It is absolutely top 3, no question.
Wow.
It's at the Straz tonight. Cannot wait to laugh my ass off for this event tonight, the Book of Mormon. If you haven't seen it, you got to go see it.
It's funny. I a lot of people won't believe this and don't know it about me, but back in my 20s, when I had money and no kids yet and was with wife number 1, we had season tickets to the Dallas Summer Musicals down here in downtown Dallas at Fair Park at the Fair Park Amphitheater, dude. And I enjoyed going to the theater. I enjoyed going to plays. You dress up, you have your cocktails. And like I said, it was an expensive bit, but I was 23, 24, no kids. We had all the money, no cares, and that was one of our things. Every couple of weeks, and if we didn't want to go, it was like sports tickets. You sell them if you didn't want to go, and you get half your money back for your season tickets. But, man, we had the best times. Met some of the coolest people going out to those places. And I'm sure I haven't been to a show in forever, but I bet it's still pretty cool to go out.
Oh, it to me, I love it. I've been very open about my Broadway musical affinity. I absolutely I know who I am. I'm a very I'm confident in my my
Your
self-image here,
masculinity.
my masculinity. So I'm fine by saying I love my Broadway musicals, and this is one of the most irreverent. I mean, listen, I'm a religious man. I believe in God. So you gotta shelve your religious dogma
Yeah.
while you watch this and just have a laugh, for God's sake. A lot of people get
Yeah.
super offended by it and walk
Oh,
out.
come on.
It's like, you know what you're going to,
Yeah.
first of all. And so but it's just, it's really, really well done. And I like musicals because, first of all, talent is inspiring to me, whatever
Mhm.
you're doing. If you're uber talented at it, it's inspiring to watch in person. That's why I think concerts and live performances are so much better than watching things on TV. I think I get more inspired watching a human right in front of me, sing or dance or just entertain. It's just, to me, it's inspiring and uplifting. And and this particular show is just hilarious. So I'm looking forward to it. I will report back tomorrow as to how great it was, but I'm looking forward to that. All right. Let's listen in a little bit. Rachaad White yesterday, Bucks, the real Rachaad White, by the way. Bucks #1 running back, I think, is poised to have a huge season in this Liam Cohen offense. They started their offseason workouts, official workout programs yesterday. So a couple guys were talking at the podium, and here is a little slice of Rachaad White.
Yeah, I did, right? That's why we're here. I wanted to be first. I wanted to be first to come in here. Yeah, talk to you guys. How y'all doing? It's good. It's good.
You excited, man?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Very excited. Very excited about everything we got going on here.
What you like about that, and what might be different for you?
The new offense. It's a question.
Yeah, so just our first meeting with Coach Lim this morning. Just great energy, great guy, great human being, just very smart. So, he's just talking about the different things that want to do, get guys in certain positions, certain space. He already know like a lot of coverages that we see. So, I mean, obviously the biggest emphasis that we all put on it, and what he started the meeting off with is run game. Run game been bad here for I don't know how many years now, but been a few years plus. So that's our biggest emphasis. And with that, just efficiency. So we want to be well efficient. And then everything else Mike, Chris, all our receivers going to keep doing what they doing. And running back's going to be an extension to that. But he put a great emphasis on run game here.
At least it seems like, based upon what the Rams did and what Cohen probably will do here, that there's going to be less 2 tight end sets, maybe more 3 receiver sets that might present some lighter boxes for you to run against. What are your thoughts on that possibility?
So it's tough. I love my tight ends for sure, so I won't just do that. But it's just whatever coach thinks is best for us to win and put guys in the best position possible. A lot what the Rams could do is 11 personnel, things like that. I mean, you got Puka, he like 6'2", whatever, 2 something, so he big guy. But just certain things we got here, though, receivers that block. I mean, but he also showed us like 2 sets of like tight ends and things like that, just different stuff we can run that's way different than what we was running last year. And I'm not trying to take a knock at anybody, but it was very exciting for all of us. And just the emphasis, like the whole meeting was based on just run game, and then obviously he showed different variations because we got different coaches from all over the place, Miami, things like that. So he showed stuff to get our receivers. I mean, just in different looks, coverages that guys run against us, like Mike, and what he's been seeing for years over his career, and how he can put him in a better position. Chris, guys like that. So it was awesome, honestly.
Last year was an adjustment for everybody learning a new offense, and it seemed to me, this is just my observation, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed to me as the season went on, you got more comfortable with kind of diagnosing things and identifying where the hole was and being able to attack it. Did you feel that way? And if so, what kind of comes with that kind of allows you to be able to do that?
I think the biggest thing is just play ball, just go, not thinking so much, and just rely on what you've been doing your whole life. So obviously, everybody want to be perfect. Me, early in the season, I wanted to make the right read or try to make the perfect play or things like that. So obviously, certain stuff that Coach Bowles was saying early in the season was kind of correct. I wanted to be, a big splash, big play guy, my ability and things like that. So let all that go and just trust it and what coaches had in store for us. And just started playing faster, started having fun, and had a conversation with my mom, and she was huge on that, and I started having fun and just going out there playing ball, playing for my teams.
For the Mama say?
My mom, she was just big on it. Like, she just asked me, she asked me some deep questions. She called me, I forgot after what game though, but it was after the first at least 4 or so games, and she just like asked me, "Do you love football still? Are you having fun? You're not smiling. You're not like whatever dancing. You're not being you, being who you are." And I say, "Yeah, I still love it." Things like that, and I kind of gave like, it ain't easy, it ain't this, it ain't this. As my mom, kind of no disrespect, she used to be like dominating a lot of like steps of the process that I've been, and I'm kind of. She was like, I don't want to hear none of the negative or it ain't this, it ain't that. It's what you make out of it, and it was huge for me, and I took off after that.
Rachaad, at what point did June Baker become? They started throwing
Way
the
to
ball,
go, Mom.
getting you in space. You made more people miss in the NFL one-on-one probably than anybody. So, at what point did that kind of like click for you? Mid-season or?
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember the Falcons game. It's like the Falcons game. I had like almost 100 scrimmage yards that game, but I started getting in space. I just kind of started realizing. Obviously I took it as a disrespectful that, like, obviously a game plan guys was a key for me. Obviously, you be a player, you want to be a guy in this league, you want to be a guy that's scouted for, respected. So I just kind of seen that, and people would just leave me and so I was like, I got to make the most and make people fear me, make people respect me, and say, when they come into a game, it's not just 13-14, it's one we need to worry about too. So I said that was a big game, the Falcons game, and after that, like, it was kind of just rolling. It was nonstop from there.
You had over 1,500 all-purpose yards last year, 10 yards away from 1,000. I know that's what you really want to hit. So what have you been doing this offseason? Continue to do this offseason and kind of get yourself in a better position to get better next year?
Obviously, I just been, of course, training. But the biggest thing is just watching, like you guys said, what I did second half of the season. Obviously, the second half of the season stretch helped me and put me in position to be in 990. I was way more efficient running the ball, and, that's on all of us. But I take a lot of pride and say majority was on me. So that's just the biggest thing right now. I've been learning, trying to figure out. Right now, I'm not where I want to be in my career, yards per carry, things like that, just being an efficient running back. So I think that's the biggest for me. Next step is, okay, he efficient. Obviously the efficient running backs over the land of time, like I said, I study game a lot, and they average at least 4.1 above, things like that. Guys like Walter Payton, and it's tough, it's hard. Everybody have seasons. They have had seasons where they average 3 point some yards per carry, things like that, due to whatever circumstances. But for me, my biggest thing is just studying the game, just understanding it, and being efficient this year.
Rachaad, you carried the ball quite a bit last year. Do you think, I know it's way early, but do you think you're going to be used more diversely, or do you expect to still, be the bell cow?
Of course, I would love to, for sure, you want to be a bell cow, but, we got great guys on our running back. Tuck should come along. Do I say of course I want the ball if it and lose enough helps us win or whatever. But, if guys will come in, have an impact, Chase, Tuck, whoever else we bring in the room, and come and have an impact for sure. If I don't need the ball every play, I don't want it. The biggest thing, like I said, is just being more efficient over my career. I just feel like I've been efficient to where I always try to be a guy where, and it's the league, so it's tough, but you study, you watch guys, and everybody's situation is different. You see guys like Christian McCaffrey could get 16, 17 carries and, can go for 100 or have close to 100 yards and rushing, things like that. So that's the biggest thing. But yeah, for sure, I don't not being a bell cow. God blessed me to be healthy for 19 games, so I'm trying to go that same route, and hopefully it all pay off.
All right, Rachaad White, your starting running back for the Buccaneers. I think, as Nathan Elliott said, he was on the cruise with the Bucs cruise with Rachaad White. He's a fan favorite, no doubt about it. You love talking to him. He's confident. I predicted last year before the season he would get 1,400 to 1,500 yards from scrimmage. The second half of the season, he was really, really good. And I think people soured on him early because he just wasn't as productive as you thought he should be. But the offensive line with run blocking was just awful. As Sal Pal mentioned yesterday, the worst in the league in terms of 1.9 yards before first contact. That means there are no holes, holes to be found anywhere for a running back. And I think as the offense, the guys got more used to the offense, and you can hear him, he got more comfortable in it. And it's about the offensive line, folks. And Hainsey, and we talked about this last year, is just, good dude. Everybody likes him, but he's just not a very good blocker. He's just not very good.
Right.
And you can upgrade tremendously in this draft, and that's going to help Rachaad White. That point of attack is just obviously so important. And to get a bigger, more talented guy in there is going to be a tremendous. And I think that's where the Bucs are focused. I really do, because I think that's where they can improve their team in a lot of different ways. And I think that's why they went out and got those 2 veterans. And even though they're not elite guys, you're not going to go out and find elite offensive linemen in free agency. They just don't come up. They're just hard to find. But you can get bigger and stronger. And I think that's what they did with Opeta and the guy from the Giants whose name escapes me. They're bigger guys. They're veteran guys. They got their man strength. You can plug them in and be a little bit better. They thought they were doing that with Matt Filer last year, and I think he was just at the end of his career. He just wasn't mobile anymore. The knees were too bad, whatever it was. He just wasn't the guy. So hopefully they can get that straightened away. And I think that's going to be a huge boost. So we'll see if they're able to do that. All right. That'll do it for us here. Thank you guys for joining us each and every day. Make sure you share the show. Let everybody know. Like and subscribe on our YouTube pages, FanStream Sports, The JP Peterson Show. And, of course, check out our podcast. If you miss it any day, folks, you can always go back and listen on wherever you get podcasts. And, of course, on Twitter and Facebook as well. Thank you, Timmy. Appreciate you. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.